Hi, everybody.
Hi, Dad and Nick.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the I'll Try That podcast. Now, this week, Rich and I have got a bit of a treat for you all. We are going to be trying a tequila-infused or flavoured beer. We're going to break that all down. And this is, of course, what most people probably think when they think tequila-flavoured beer of Desperados by the Heineken company. But first, Rich, you've got a hot topic for me?
Yeah.
And I'm kind of questioning that because you've alluded that you've got something to talk about, but you won't tell me what you want to talk about.
So it's a hot, I don't know, it's probably a hot topic-ish. I don't really know. I will tell you all about it and then we'll go from there if that sounds all right.
I like the ambiguity. Let's go.
So I've just moved into a new flat in Weymouth because I'm doing all right for myself at the moment. Podcast's really paying. And
okay. That's a weird flex.
Yeah. and I was doing all that usual shopping. So I've done like my IKEA trip and I've done that. But today it was my day off and had a list of jobs that I wanted to do. So I went to the Range. Have you been to the Range before?
It's a home shop, isn't it? You can buy like plates and bowls and like things for your walls. Okay.
Yeah, all of that sort of stuff. So I was off to get some really cool stuff. I needed to get a new shoe rack and a draft excluder. So proper cool stuff. So I was wondering, and I was wandering around, and I stumbled across something, and I was like, you know what, this is it. So, like we discussed this not that long ago, but I've brought myself a make your own beer kit.
I love this idea. Right. That's great.
To make 40 500ml bottles of an American IPA.
Hang on, did you just say 40 500ml bottles?
40 500ml bottles.
And does it? So you don't come with the bottles, you've got to go buy the bottles.
No, you've got to go buy the bottles, but you get this massive fermenting bucket.
This is incredible. Okay, so break this down. So this is an American IPA or American Pale? What do they say on the tin?
It's an American IPA. Supposed brewing strength is a 4.5.
Okay.
Yeah, 5.6. There we go. A 5.6 average ABV and very bitter.
Nice.
Is what it describes on the box. So my plan is, it says it takes about 4 weeks to complete the whole process. So my plan is over the weekend is to rustle this up, and then in 4 weeks we do an episode where we review my beer that I've brewed.
I like this idea. Yeah. I'm definitely going to do this.
Which I thought would be quite funny, and who knows which way it's going to go. I'll come up with a really cool craft name. If anybody's got any ideas.
Oh, let's do a poll. Let's absolutely do a poll on Instagram for this, because I think we need to crowd brand your beer. Obviously, it's going to be underneath the underarching of I'll Try That podcast. But I think we could come up with a whole brand around this. So, listeners, we need a name for Rich's and the first ever, because I think if this works, Rich, I like this idea, a new segment idea that we can all take it in turns to do it, and then we can review. Actually, we are going to try and do we've been remote recording for a long time now, obviously since COVID started, but we're going to try and do an in-person review, aren't we? And recording session. Yeah. Sometime in November, I think is probably the best bet we've been talking about. So actually, how long will it take your beer to come?
It's saying 4 weeks for the perfect brew.
Okay. So let's book the dates that we're going to do the session together, and then you work backwards and you start the brew, like maybe 4.5 weeks, let's say, because it'll take you a bit of time to get going, and then you can start the brew, plan it out, and go from there, and then we can review it on the discussion. I like this. Okay. Well, I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see and taste this. So So as a group, then, this is with listeners included, we have I would say probably about 6 weeks now. It's the probably about 6 weeks from the time of this episode going live to come up with a name for Rich's brew. So please give us your comments on Instagram, Twitter, on our videos on YouTube, or send us an email to illtrythatpodcast@gmail.com. And the winning one will become the new branded bottled beer by Rich.
I might even look into getting stickers made for the bottles themselves. You're into marketing, Joe, and all that sort of stuff. You can design the label.
I've worked with a label or two.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can figure this out. But that's it. That's what I think. We need to get a name going. So that's what we'll do. And then we'll figure out the rest of it. And then we will present this. And actually, maybe even the person who comes up with the best name could be presented with one of the Rich's Brew bottles as part of this. We'll get this to you. So yeah, please do give us your suggestions for the best names. And you could have one of Rich's 40 brews that he's going to make.
Yeah. It's going to be a great Christmas. That's all I know. That's what everyone's getting for Christmas this year. My home brew. That's
4 weeks for fermenting to make the brew. But obviously, of course, once you then take it out and bottle it, it's then sealed and it's got a longer shelf life, hasn't it? It hasn't just got to be drunk in that week.
No. Well, it'd be, if I was going to drink 40 pints, it's possible. But this is, I was looking into, you can get proper bottles that you can seal up and everything like that. So, yeah.
It's funny you've been saying that because we've had a similar conversation at my workplace, actually, where we're thinking we should do our own brewing of beer. Okay. So we might try, I mean, everyone can get involved in brewing, let's put it. And actually, my only other experience to date, I'm definitely not a brewer, but we did do a home brew kit, similar to your situation that you're explaining now, when I was at uni. My second year house, and there was about 6 of us who got involved in this, and we ended up just going down the street in Bristol, and there's a home brew shop. Like it's a classic Bristol shop. It's a home brew shop, just all set up for giving you all you need. And so we got a big, got all the yeast, all the hops. We selected that we were going to use a traditional English ale, kind of closer. Nice. We were thinking in our mind, like to a London Pride-esque kind of beer. And so we got excited by that idea. It was going to be a flat beer. It's going to be about 4.5%. We had this big plastic, it looked like a case, I suppose. Like you can maybe like what you put wine into, like a big,
I know what you're talking
barrel looking thing. And, so we followed the instructions, cooked it all up in the day that we got back, and we were all excited by doing it, put it into the big, barrel, and then we left it. It said, similar to the situation to yourself, it was like, 4 or 5 weeks is the perfect amount of time. So we left it. And then we had, a big party on the 4.5 week mark, where we'd been hyping up this home brew, that we're going to cater the whole party with this home brew, blah, 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 blah. Don't worry about alcohol, beer, especially don't worry about beer. We've got that covered with our home brew. All these people turn up, and then we crack this open, the first step, and I cannot express how disgusting that brew was. It was so bad. Like, I don't understand. To this day, hold my hands up. I don't understand what went wrong, because we followed all the instructions. Well, there must have just been something like in how it was kept in the kitchen must have been that had unsettled it. Maybe there was too many other cooking, that was going on with other extra heat or something. I don't really know. But yeah. So anyway, that was a big waste of quite a lot of beer that we had to get rid of. Unfortunately, a very undrinkable beer, I must add. So anyway, I'm hoping yours is going to be a raving success.
Same here, but we will wait and see.
So this week we're going to talk about a tequila flavored beer called Desperados. Tequila. Yeah. Now, I am pretty sure most people will have heard of Desperados. Rich, have you heard of Desperados before?
I've been a fan of Desperados. I don't know. I say fan. I've liked Desperados when I was younger. I was a fan of Desperados. They were just a delicious drink. They were perfect in the sun, everything like that. And yeah, I'm a fan. I'm still a fan. What am I going on about? Yeah, I'm a fan.
Okay, so maybe you can paint a picture for the listeners for those that might not have heard of Desperados, are you getting from the label of what a tequila flavored beer is all about?
Well, if I'm looking at the label and I'm going for, I've never ever tried a Desperado. I'm looking along the shop, I'm picking something to do. I would see a Desperado and I would assume party.
Yes, okay. I'm glad you said party. It is a party on the label and a party in your mouth when you take a sip.
Yeah, it is all of those things. And I don't even think they've changed the label that much since when I first started to try it.
I'm really pleased you mentioned this, Richard, because actually, design-wise, they've changed quite dramatically over the years.
Oh, really?
And the fact that you think it hasn't changed that much is a really testament to how good, I guess, the subtlety of the brand equities within Desperados. But anyway, I digress, because Desperados, the name Desperados, actually, can you look up what Desperado means in Spanish? I'm sure someone's screaming at us right now going, you should know what Desperados in Spanish means.
Desperate?
Desperados hasn't changed too much in regards to that. It's always been tequila flavored, but what they've really leaned into in the last couple of years is that they've introduced a whole new range of beers. So not only can you get the original, which is the one that started it all with tequila, but you can also get a red, which has a guarana and can't even pronounce this word, guarana and cachaca flavorings as well.
Cachaca.
Cachaca. Yeah. And, different tequila styles, basically.
Yeah.
In there. And yeah, they've done a lot of work actually on because they've introduced a new product now, that they took that opportunity to redesign the brand itself.
Yeah.
And the bottles, so that you can clearly see that, from everything from the bottle itself and the bottle labels through to the secondary containers, either the 4-pack or the bigger bottle packs, that, you can see which one you're picking up, either the original or the red.
Okay, I like that. So I've just Googled what Desperado means, and then I realised I do know what Desperado means, and it means like renegade. Okay. So someone who's going to go like a bad guy, basically, I think. So would be
a bad guy. A renegade? No, I think renegade. I think of someone who goes against the grain, doesn't follow everyone else. Is looking to kind of pave their own way, maybe break rules, but it doesn't necessarily have to break rules if you're just kind of doing things your own way. Basically, it's trying to empower people. Basically, Desperado speaks to a younger audience. Let's be honest here. There is no one in their 60s going, oh my God, I just really want a Desperados. I mean, there might be. Please tell us if there's wrong, because actually it's quite an interesting and tasting beer, but definitely how they're styled graphically and their marketing is very focused towards a very younger audience, isn't it?
Well, it goes along, because it reminds me a bit of like, when we're talking about Tiny Rebel and all of that sort of stuff. Their design is for a younger audience, the way their cans are designed and everything like that. And that's exactly what I'm getting from Desperado. Bright, in your face, colourful.
What's hot on everyone's lips right now is, well, who owns this brand of Desperados? Now, Rich, do you know who owns Desperado?
I've got an idea of who owns Desperado. Is it Heineken that owns Desperado?
It is indeed Heineken. Desperados is now owned by Heineken, and they have been, it was introduced in 1995, but it was originally produced by a French brewing company called Fisher Brewery. And now it's brewed by Heineken in their I can't even pronounce this word, Carlo Vanco Brewery, which I'm going to Google where that is right now.
So are you saying this has never been brewed in Mexico?
I am 100% saying it has never been brewed in Mexico. We have another Foster's job on our hands.
Yeah, because that's very much what it's targeting itself at and coming across as, that it's a Mexican... That it's a Mexican beer, or trying to be a Mexican beer. But if it's been created by a French brewing company and is now produced by Heineken. It's one of those great marketing lies.
But this is a new beer that was created, I say new beer, it was created in 1995, but this is a beer that was made with the purpose of being a tequila flavoured beer. Now, where does tequila come from, Rich?
Mexico.
All the agave plants are in Mexico. Tequila is synonymous with Mexico. It's the national drink. So what is your beer going to be styled after?
Mexico.
But you're absolutely right. This is a Foster scenario all over again. This has never been made or is not a traditional Mexican drink by any stretch of the imagination. Why it's got Mexican influences is because of the beer is tequila focused.
you know what we should, if we have anybody listening from Mexico or anything like that, is this a popular drink over there? Is this enjoyed over there? Because I don't know. Because I read it's only.
You should know. You're meant to be bringing the facts to the people, Richard. We're a beer news and review podcast. Can't be asking them to do your job for you.
Well, it'd be a nice thing for them to help occasionally. We're doing all the work here.
We'll give them one task at a time. They're going to find out the name. They're going to give us some name options for your brew.
Okay.
And then we'll do that. So why don't you Google how many countries Desperados are in and see if Mexico is one of them?
I can already tell you that off the top of my head, Joe. Not if Mexico's one of them, but it's 60. It's exported to 60 countries.
I like that. Okay, and so Mexico is one of them, is it? Well, that's 60
I
countries.
don't know. That part I don't know, but I know it's exported to 60 countries, and it's only just recently gone over to America because it's so popular in Europe. They thought they would try it in America, and it's starting to become very popular over there.
I mean, it makes sense. The Americans love tequila-based drinks, you know, whether that's tequila or that's mezcal cocktails, you know, so tequila is very, very popular as a product in the States. So I think this just makes a lot of sense. And, you know, the base of this beer is a pale or light ale. So the base of this beer is a pale or light lager. You know, so this is already screaming, you know, Americans, you will like this. You know, it's got tequila in it. You like tequila, or it's flavored tequila. And it's also a light beer, which we know that they consume in droves with the likes of, you know, the beer industry in the US traditionally, which has been like the Budweisers and the American light beers that's out there.
I'm just found a very interesting article all of a sudden. Also, I was Googling is Mexican, is tequila Mexican, but tequila producers take on Heineken over Desperado beer. And I believe they're having a bit of the Mexican tequila industry is giving Europe a taste for its own medicine when it comes to defending gourmet news and drinks. And basically they're now trying to bring in their own tequila flavoured beer to take over Desperado, saying they're going to do it better because it's coming from Mexico.
Well, I like the sound of this. Yeah, so I mean, let's face it. If someone can make a fresher sourced, you know, Mexican styled, you know, tequila based infused beer, then it should be Mexico that makes that. So that makes perfect sense. We might end up being in this whole story of, you know, the same kind of realm that we're in with the yogurts. So I think we've talked about this before, where you have to have Greek-styled yogurts. You can't say Greek yogurts if it's not made in Greece. So we might find that, you know, you can't call it a Mexican beer if it's not in Mexico. But definitely right now, Desperados is not saying that it is a Mexican beer. What it is saying is it is a beer flavored with tequila.
Yeah, and it even says on the bottle, brewed in the Netherlands.
There you go. So Desperados as a beer is 5.9%. That's quite chunky for a light lager.
Yeah, it's hitting home at 5.9%, but it doesn't taste heavy. I know I use that descriptive word a lot, but it doesn't taste like a full-on beer. As you said, it's light, it's refreshing, and it's easy to drink. And I could drink these all day if I really wanted to, and feel like I haven't had a full meal if I like some of the stronger beers we've tried.
Now, I was reading something here that actually Desperados is brewed with malted barley, which makes it not gluten-free. However, it is vegan. That's a fun fact for you there, Richard.
I'll take that fun fact with me and I'll tell all the friends at work tomorrow. Thinking about, I was talking about how easy they are to drink. I remember the first time I properly tried Desperado was when I was working in Spain. And there was can you remember Playa de Aro, Joe?
Yeah, I can.
Classic night out from when me and Joe used to work together in Spain. It was 20 minutes away and loads of different clubs and pubs and all of this sort of stuff. Quite a fun place to go out. But there was something called the Desperado Challenge, which is where you could go to 5 different bars and you had to buy a Desperado in every single bar. And if you complete it, you then got a T-shirt. Because... and
I can see that you are currently wearing your Desperado T-shirt, so you made it.
Yeah. I did this challenge back in like 2015. I've had this T-shirt a while.
I mean, you've got to wear it with pride. You know, it's not every day that everyone you could do 5 Desperados in 5 bars. So there you go.
No, it's definitely tighter than it used to be. But,
it's shrunk in the wash, you mean?
Yeah, that one there. Yeah.
So I'm just looking through. I was intrigued, and I've been trying to search this out because when I said earlier on that they've only got 2 beers, which is the original and the red. It didn't quite resonate. That's what's listed on their website as being the beers that they have. But actually, it didn't resonate with me because I remember walking past an off-license not that long ago and seeing all these other wonderful and weird and wonderful flavours for Desperado. Now, they also have, actually, in market, a lime Desperado. So I am currently drinking my original Desperado with a wedge of lime pushed into it. So you can cut out the middleman of trying to cut your own lime and whatever and pick up the lime Desperado. But what do you think about this one, Rich? Would you try a mojito Desperado?
I love mojitos, and I'm a fan of Desperados, and I'm also a fan of combinations of different things going together. So, when Walker's did Heinz Baked Bean Crisps, I was there for that sort of thing. So I'm also there for mojito Desperados.
Now, would you be interested in trying the Desperados Virgin 0.0%? So this is their non-alcoholic beer.
Yes, as we have a beer review and news podcast, it is in the interest of the listeners that we try that 0% to see if it can hold up. Because we've tried so many of these big named beers that have tried to replicate their beer again, and it's not quite hit the nail on the head, and it's not quite got there. But I think it might be a bit easier for Desperado maybe because it's a bit sweeter.
I think you're right. It's sweeter. It's a light lager. And let's face it, who else do we know who makes a 0% alcoholic beer, which I'm a big fan of? Heineken's 0.0.
Yeah.
And this Desperados is owned by Heineken. So I have to have a feeling that they might have had a lot of input in the creation of that. So I'm kind of excited by that. What I'm very excited by, and I've just noticed this, I can't believe I hadn't noticed this before. So we're drinking these Desperados from a 33 centilitre bottles. Now, can you tell me anything unusual by this bottle that you're seeing and how you're feeling on this bottle?
Is it the super cool groovy thing on the side?
So to explain to the listeners what you mean by a super cool groovy thing on the side.
Well, it's got Desperados embossed into the side of it in a slight little dent. So it feels quite nice to rub your finger up and down it.
And it's only on one side. And it's exactly there. And I've just noticed this. I can't believe I hadn't noticed. When you pick up the bottle and you wrap your hand around it, it's like for your fingers to touch upon. So you have the smooth side around your hand and around the palm of your hand. And then you touch the grippy Desperado bit, which adds that extra little bit of grip on the other side of the bottle. It's very clever, actually. It's those subtleties.
Yeah.
A slightly more functional grip bottle. It's quite interesting, actually, isn't it?
I'm there for that because when I'm energetically dancing on the dance floor, because that's probably the only time I'm drinking a Desperado, I need the more grip and purchase for my beer so I don't drop it.
I think you've just hit the nail on the head. That's why they've done it. Because all their Instagram is talking about and everything on their website is around parties, nightclubs, going to events and festivals and a big air balloon festival that they're hosting or something. That's what I've just noticed on their website. But
that's cool.
That's exactly what it's for, Rich. This bottle is designed that you can dance and move around with this bottle.
Oh, that's cool. You know what? I like that. Fair play, Heineken.
If I'm the taste aside, because the taste is, we haven't actually gone into too much taste. So give me your views. I know we've already kind of established that you've drunk a lot of Desperados in your time, Rich, especially when maybe a bit younger, and you enjoy this. I'm guessing you enjoy this taste.
So, I used to really enjoy Desperado when I was younger, sort of thing, and I only very rarely now drink a Desperado. I've not drunk one of these in probably about a year. I can remember the last time I drank it was when we were in the middle of lockdown, and it was the only beer I could get in the local shop that I was going to, and it was in cans. It was a 4-pack of cans, and it was the only thing. It was between that and an incredibly some dark stout at the back, and I was like, that's not what I need right now. And so I got it, and I cracked it out, and I was sitting outside, and it was a beautiful day, with that ridiculously hot sunshine. Where I sat outside looking over the view of Portland, and I was sipping a Desperado, and I was like, you know what? This brings back happy memories, good memories, and God, it just tastes so nice. I'm not a tequila fan at all. I hate tequila. Tequila goes down, tequila comes back up. It just doesn't sit well with me under any way, shape, or form. But tequila in lager.
Enjoying it.
I've just got to give him a round of applause.
Well, I think you're right. It's very clean, isn't it? It's quite crisp. It is quite sweet. You said before you found that quite sweet. So that's that kind of sweetness to it. It's going down because it's got that cleanliness. It's that light lager kind of style. It's nothing offensive, but the tequila flavoring actually adds something a little bit more interesting than you'd find in a normal light lager. You know, they all seem kind of, all very focused on trying to make the lager and around the hops and the barley. Whereas obviously you can tell there's something else in there that isn't in the usual brewing process or usual brewing ingredients. And yeah, I think it's quite, as I said, it's quite citrusy as well. Now that I'm kind of thinking about it, I've got through a bottle now at the end of this recording, and my mouth is quite watering a little bit.
Yeah.
And, I'm feeling like I've had something that's quite citrusy, that's had that kind of like refreshingness, but refreshingness is not a word, that refreshing kind of feeling over my palate, over my cleanse. But
Joe, if you want it to be a word, it can be a word.
Refreshingness. There you go. But I got most of the refreshingness, if I'm honest, from the aroma. The smell of Desperados is quite reminiscent, I guess, in styling to like a Tecate to a Corona, but Tecate's tequila, it comes right through the nose. Last things, I guess, wrapping up on Desperado. I'll do the numbers.
I'm going to say they're quite popular, I think.
Desperados on Instagram. Do you want to hazard a guess as to how many followers they have?
1.2 million?
Wow, that's a big guess. That's a great stab in the dark. They've got 86,000 followers. Wow, that was a big guess.
All right, so not as popular as I thought.
No, not 1 point however million you just said there. You crazy man. I think only like someone like Kylie Jenner, what's her name? The one of the Kardashian sisters.
Kendall Jenner?
You might be right. I don't know. The one of the Kardashian girls. I don't know.
Yeah.
And on Twitter they have 16.3k followers. So. Yeah, fairly reasonable. I think because Desperados is popular, as you said, but it is not the most popular brand within the Heineken portfolio. It definitely has a niche, where it's very appealing to, people going to nightclubs, to events, to festivals. As we've described, the bottle itself is designed to be more functionally helpful when you're dancing or moving around. So, it's definitely got a kind of an area that people would drink this beer.
Okay, wait, have you ever tried it on tap?
No, never. Is that a thing?
I vaguely remember having it once on tap, but I just wondered if it was. Maybe
they just had a load of bottles tipped upside down, and maybe you're just talking about you had it out of a funnel. If that's what you actually can remember. Did you have a funnel of Desperados and now you think you had it on tap?
It's really vivid.
I think we'll leave it at that. I think which is Desperado funnel. And that's all we have time for this week's episode of the I'll Try That podcast. And so from me, Joe,
Rich, Barbara,
and Simo.
Goodbye. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram,
Twitter,
I'll try that podcast.com,
and watch us on YouTube.
Goodbye now.